My 808 slapping y'all eardrums like.
Today, I will flog you like a bass, beats, bass. I'm gonna beat you like an African talking drum. Shebi, they didn't tell you, show no stupid ni, homo, wagban.
Hey y'all, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Chizua. I would say my producer name, but I'm currently going under a little bit of a reconstruction period with my producer name, so I'll get back to you guys on that. But basically this video is for my new series Behind the Beat, where I break down some of my beats that I've posted on here and show you guys some tips on how I flip like samples or loops, and just kind of give you even a little bit of tips on how to use FL Studios. So this beat was actually for a competition with the YouTuber Kyle Beats, where he gave us songs from his Pluto Kit, and we had to use those loops and flip them. So I'm just gonna jump in with the loop that I used, which was called Ripped Off. So I'm gonna just play it for you so you know what I was working with from the beginning. I'm gonna clone it, lowering the pitch to its original, and I'm gonna play it right now. So as you can see, it was just a quick little 8-bar loop that he gave us, and the BPM was 115. So as soon as I heard that, I knew I wanted to add a bass to it. So I went into one of my favorite plugins called Flex, which is free with FL Studios, and came up with a bass line. Let me go ahead and show you how Flex looks. So I went into the bass kit and used a live, I'm not honestly sure how to pronounce it, and I really like the sound of it. It has like a buzzy effect to it, so I thought it would pair well and give it like kind of like a hardcore rock feel. So I was able to just play around with some keys and come up with this as the bass line. So yeah, it kind of has like a heavy metal, kind of hard trap rock feel to it. So once I was done with that, I decided to use the loop and actually come up with like an oscillation type of sound by going into Fruity Slicer, which you see here. I just dragged and dropped the loop into here and used the beat tool function to split it up into 32 bars. And then once I had it chopped up, I went into my piano roll and just started playing around with keys like I usually do. And once I started playing around, I was able to come up with this like repeating pattern. So it kind of sounds spacey, and I thought it would match well with the bass line. So I'm going to play both of them together for you. So the loop, like oscillation, kind of like pushes the beat forward. So once I had that done, that's basically the background, and now I needed a melody for like the front of the beat, like something that's gonna be kind of like catchy. So I went into FL Keys, my trusty VST, free with Fruity Loops of course, and just came up with a pattern. Like I just listened to the background a lot and just started humming what I thought would be a good melody, and I came up with this sound. So that just repeats for the next 4 bars. And I wanted to layer this with something else. So I went into another one of my favorite free VSTs. Doesn't come with FL Studios, but it's free. And it's a nice guitar VST. I'm going to show you the interface. And it sounds like a real guitar, as you can hear. I added a little bit of reverb, so it might sound different than a authentic guitar, acoustic guitar. And what I did is just basically copy and paste the melody that I put in FL Keys and put into the guitar VST. So with that done, that was basically all I really wanted to have for the melody. And I'm going to play it all together for you to hear how it sounds. It's not mixed, so it might sound a little bit mumbled right now, but So yeah, that's basically it for the melody of the first half of the song. So now we're going to get into the drums. So with the drums, I always just start off with a clap. It's the easiest thing for me to do because it usually never changes. I put a clap on the third note of every measure. Oop, my bad. So clap, clap. So it's literally that for 8 measures. And then I went into my hi-hats. This is also from a free kit from Kyle Beats. And I just put a triplet on the first note and then a roll on the fourth. And just repeated that. So next, I did a snare. So for the snare, I kind of rotated where I placed the snare. For the first measure, I put it on the second beat, and on the next measure, I put it on the and of the second beat. If I play it by itself, it doesn't really sound like there's much of a difference, but when I play with the clap, you might be able to hear a little bit of a groove to it. So yeah, that is the hat, the clap, and the snare. And now it's time to get into the drums, like the 808 and the kick. So the 808 is basically from Navi D's kit. This is the 808 right here. It's a nice and like fat, big 808. And I knew I basically wanted to create another bass line with it because the 808 is the drum that can sing. So I was able to just listen to the buzzing bass line and come up with this. So that was the 808 bass line that you're going to hear throughout all of the first half of the song. And I had a kick pattern that just followed exactly the same 808, just not really changing notes because it's not necessary. The kick just reinforces the 808. So yeah, that's really it for the first section of the song. I'm going to play it for you. So yeah, that's basically it. I added like a sound effect of glass breaking just every 8 bars. It's like kind of like a way to transition. So now we're going to get into the transitioning portion of the beat that goes from beat 1 into beat 2. So I'm going to show you guys how I was able to make this by using actually the original loop. So what I did was take the original loop, which I'm dragging here, and I put it into gross beat. So now gross beat is an effect that can do like several different things. If I was to describe gross beat, there's so many different things that you can do in it. But what the effect that I used in gross beat was the halftime effect. So halftime basically like slows down the song without actually changing the tempo of it. So I'm going to show you how it sounded without gross beat and then with halftime on it. So it just slows it down, but it's still at the same tempo. So I liked how that sounded. So what I did was I liked it, but I was like, let's see how it sounds if I reverse it. So I opened it up and clicked reverse.
Chizzy.
And I really just liked how it sounded because it was like swelling and falling, swelling and falling. So I knew it would just be like another way to set the tone for the second half of the beat. So once I had that transition, I knew it was time for me to make the actual second half of the beat. So what I did is I took this reverse melody and again put it into Fruity Slicer. So in Fruity Slicer, I dragged it in here and again used the beat tool to chop it up into 32 beats. And again, with almost all my beats, it just starts off by just messing around with the keys and hearing what I like. So I was able to come up with this. And I'm not gonna lie, I was like, this is it. I was making a little stank face when I heard this because it was just so hypnotic to me. So I was actually kind of content of just having that be the second half of the beat with some drums, which I'm going to show you. So I went in with the hi-hats and I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I put a triplet on every measure and a roll on the and of the 4 for every other measure. So it sounds like this. The kick, the snare and the clap sound exactly the same, so I'm not going to show you it. I'm just going to show you the kick, which plays well. I came up with it by just listening to the drums and then just filling in the blank spots, basically. And I decided not to add an 808 for this ending section. I just didn't think it was needed. So like I said, this is the beat, and I was kind of content with just having it like this, but I thought it needed one more element to it. So I decided to add a flute, which is always just one of my favorite things to add on if I don't know what to add. So this flute is actually in the Citrus kit, which comes with the Citrus VST, which comes with FL Studios. And again, I just listened to that loop over and over again and just basically started whistling this to myself and just started typing in the notes. So yeah, that is basically the last element of the whole song, the second half and just really the whole thing. So altogether it sounds like this. So then I just ended out the song by taking out everything except like the hypnotic section. And now I'm just going to play for you basically how the beat transitions from the transition section into the second half. Just so you can hear how I was able to make it like smooth and cohesive.
Chizzy.
And then on the second half, you're going to hear the bass come in from the loop. I'm introducing the clap, and I do like a little roll drop right here. So yeah, that is all that I have for you guys. That is how I was able to make my beat Chizzo mode for the Kyle Beats beat competition. I'm hoping it wins. I think it's a dope beat, but there's so many entries, so you just never know. Music is very subjective, but I would say personally that my beat is fire. So thank you guys for watching this far, and like, comment, subscribe, and there's going to be more content coming your way.